No Mercy, for lack of a better term, was a weird pay-per-view. It feels like WWE had to change the layout of the whole show because of the presidential debate. Plus, you had the situation happening with Becky Lynch where she cannot compete, so they tried to compensate with a match between Naomi and Alexa Bliss, which is all right. So I'm Juan, and I'm here to get to my WWE No Mercy SmackDown Live pay-per-view review, and we're going to go match by match. I'm going to start it off by saying that the multi-man match was nothing special, but the whole dance that Mojo Rawley does, I get that is his thing, and people are reacting to it in the crowd, right? So, like, who are we to complain when the live crowd enjoys it? He didn't do the hammer time thing that I recall here, but he did like a weird dance towards the corner. Whatever, the baby faces won. The opening video package for No Mercy was very good. I think that in contrast to Clash of Champions, No Mercy was a much better built-up pay-per-view. It felt like the Intercontinental Championship match really meant something. Same thing with the triple threat match for the WWE World Championship, and this video package showed it. You know, they can sugarcoat it all they want, but if we as fans don't believe it, then it doesn't matter. And I felt like I was walking in, or I'm sitting, but go along with me here, that I was going to enjoy a real pay-per-view with some proper build-up. Now we go to the first match, which is the WWE World Championship match. And I kind of felt, honestly, I don't mean to be too negative, that I was watching some kind of WCW match, because that finish made no sense. So the match first, I mean, it was outstanding. It's three very talented individuals. Between the three, I'd definitely say the highlight was AJ, followed by Cena, then Dean Ambrose as a third place, or the third man out, really. There's only three opponents here. But everything from the outside dive with the forearm strike that AJ Styles delivered. You know, we had the 10-knuckle shuffle. I love the variety of the German suplexes that we had during the match. Like, AJ has his combination. Cena did the double one. And there were a lot of false finishes. I kind of get that they tried to keep AJ looking strong, because here's what I thought happened. I was watching with Keith, and then AJ does the whole double tap thing, so we're thinking, okay, so AJ was eliminated. It's not an elimination match, whatever. And even the live crowd, you can notice they were very confused about that. But no, he wasn't gone. And even, they even made reference to, like, AJ pulling the ref as a no DQ, like, hey, it's no disqualification, but it felt like they referenced it more in the way that, hey, he's gone, but he's still in it. But then Cena lost with just 2 chair shots. Cena's, like, superhuman. I know the time has gone by, but we've seen Cena overcome so many different odds that a chair shot to the back for a 3 count was super weird. And considering this was the second match I was looking forward to the most, it was an odd thing, because I was left with one match that I really cared about for the pay-per-view, and we just kicked it off. But overall, very good match. The second best match of the night by far, but it left me with a sour taste in my mouth. Now we go on to the second match, the first female superstar match, Carmella versus Nicky. It was a better match than I expected. I think that Nikki Bella gets a lot of flack for being part of Total Divas, Total Bellas, being one half of the Bella Twins. I think Brie Bella is the least talented wrestler of the two. Like, sorry, Brie, but I never believed. It seemed like somebody that was always trying really hard, but then when it came down to, like, the actual wrestling part, she fell short. But with Nikki, I feel like she is really trying, and she does the job. You know, like, she gets the job done. With Carmella, she's definitely getting there. She's a very solid athlete, and it shows. So that's why they went on to have a very good match. I always enjoy when Nikki Bella does the forearms, and I enjoy the Rack Attack 2.0. I'm hoping they rename it, because it's just a long name, but I'm happy that she continues to do basically what it is, a TKO maneuver. And it was a solid match. Nothing more else that I can really talk about here. Nikki Bella gets the win. Before we move on to the next match, we have a backstage segment between The Miz and Dean O'Brien. I like this because even though throughout the whole show we got different backstage segments about Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton and their ongoing story, much like it happened at SmackDown Live, I like that The Miz is being treated like a Hollywood superstar, really building up to this match, which included previous tweets from Dolph Ziggler talking about bookings, which, I mean, that they did an exceptional job of making us, all of us, myself included, believe that Ziggler was really going to be done. Then we go on to the next match, the Tag Team Championship match, the Usos against Slater and Rhino. Originally, my prediction for the match was going to be that Slater and Rhino were going to win, but the way that Ryan and Keith talked about, the outcome of the match in the podcast, they persuaded me to change. Now, shame on me, because I should have stuck to my original prediction. Slater and Rhino won. I'm just going to say this. I'm not even going to talk about the match. I'm going to talk about how I felt about the Usos in the match. They're doing such an awesome job as being the bad guys. Like that Samoa drop that they hit, the super kick of doom that they got on Heath Slater, that I'm shocked he's alive after that. They're doing such a good job of being bad guys that they're going to end up being cheered because they're doing such a good job. When originally they were doing such a mad job being good guys that they were starting to get booed. It's the world of wrestling, right? So you try to be a bad guy to be a good guy, but then if you're a good guy, you're a bad guy. I don't know what's going to happen. Is Rhino going to continue with his political campaign, while being a tag team champion? That would be kind of insane, and it's 2016, so it's perfectly possible. Up next, the match that I did not care about very much. We forgot it during the podcast. It is Jack Swagger versus Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin looks solid. He does the Connect Four thing on the way to the ring. I always find that very enjoyable. I'm a huge board game fan. But Jack Swagger, I feel nothing for. And I know we have some viewers that, do enjoy Jack Swagger, and that's super cool. The man is very solid in the ring, but first of all, he gained a couple pounds. It's like, you got to lay down on the beer a little bit, my friend. I'm saying that as not a wrestler, but it just seems weird, right? Like, you're getting this push, so make the best out of it. But I felt like the only thing that mattered in this match was Baron Corbin, and he won. So I don't know where that leaves Swagger, who switched brands only to then lose to Baron Corbin. Maybe something's up on the line for him, or he was just food for Corbin, who may move on to different things, possibly feud with Ziggler. Maybe? Find out. Let's find out very, very soon. And here we go. Speaking of Ziggler, Intercontinental Championship match. Very disappointed, first of all, that this was not the main event. I figured if the triple threat match is the first match and they're not doing any world title shenanigans afterwards, this should close off the show, because it could be like, oh my god, they want to give Ziggler the proper send-off, so of course they're going to give them the final slot, so that he can get some confetti or something, like thank you Ziggler. They can do that. So this was like the first indication that, okay, maybe, just maybe, this is not going to actually end up happening. Match of the night, though, by far. One thing that I do need to point out is that The Miz has been on fire. We can say that Maurice has been an exceptional tool in contribution to the whole thing, to The Miz character, the storyline. But let's not forget that The Miz has definitely improved as a wrestler. Before, I couldn't tell you my favorite Miz match, because honestly, there wasn't really anything there. But I can really go back to this match and say, yeah, Ziggler did his part, but so did The Miz. He's become a very solid worker in the ring, and I was glued to the edge of my seat during the whole match. There was one part where I'm like, okay, Spirit Squad's coming out, and then we get the skull crushing, and that's where I really thought. I even told Keith, like, 100%, this is it, and he kicked out. They had the crowd in the palm of their hands, and that's what you want to do. This match is the ultimate babyface match in 2016. This was like an early 90s, late 80s wrestling match brought to contemporary times, and it worked because there was a legitimate career-threatening situation happening, and the babyface was able to overcome the odds. Now, even though the match was great, we get to the conclusion where we get the super sock, not the super kick, we got the super sock. It was right there, and then Ziggler wins, and my first reaction was, what? Okay, I don't know what's going to happen, because the whole storyline, the whole reason that I was glued to the screen, that I cared about the storyline on SmackDown Live, was because what next? What's going to happen for Ziggler? Finally, a new opportunity. He's going to rejuvenate himself. The Miz should not lose the championship because he's on fire. It feels like the worst of both worlds right now. I'm not going to jump to conclusions too much. We're going to talk about SmackDown and whatever happens there on the podcast, available on Wednesday right here on this channel. But I wasn't super thrilled about the conclusion. It feels weird that I'm like, no, damn it, the guy's career keeps going on. But I haven't really cared about Ziggler for a very long time. But maybe, just somewhat maybe, they do something on SmackDown now that changes that towards a more positive light. Kickoff. I did not watch this in the Kickoff show, but apparently Kurt Hawkins made his WWE return, but they're branding a debut to announce the debut of his match on SmackDown. Such a heel tactic. But Keith and I are very sad that apparently they changed his theme song, so it's not in the middle of it, which we thought it was going to be. It's such an awesome song. Look it up on YouTube here, middle of it. Fire and smoke are everywhere. I'm not going to sing it. And then we get Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. Honestly, I don't know why this match happened, because I think that this did nobody any favors, because going into it, if Alexa Bliss loses, which she did, then she's the number one contender, so shouldn't it be a triple threat match? And then if the opposite happens, then it's like, what? I would have turned it into like, okay, let's do a fatal four-way. Why? Because why not? So at least you're able to, protect Alexa Bliss. But instead, we got this match. The crowd wasn't really into it. The crowd didn't really react too much when Naomi won. I think Naomi, she's finally getting a really good opportunity. We said it on the podcast where she's no longer a funkadactyl. She really, came into her own, and that's awesome. But then what? I don't think this match did anybody any favors, especially when you have the main event of Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton, which was very questionable. I get it, once again, precedential debate. But before I get to the main event, I do need to say that this show felt more like a live event. It felt like Roadblock or Beast in the East more so than it did a WWE pay-per-view, because the formatting, the match order was so weird. It was so weird. I can't say like this was a good show or a bad show or a solid show. It was a weird show. The whole time I'm thinking like, I don't know what to think. I don't know how to feel right now, because this is not what I'm used to. And then the finishes are weird. You took Becky Lynch out, and then the presidential debate, and then all of a sudden the whole world breaks down. It feels like there had to be another alternative or another option that didn't lead to this cluster muck that we ended up getting. And it's now main event time, and all I can say is that we got the herp. Luke Harper came back. Stop looking at me funny like that. I tweeted that, and I immediately regretted it afterwards, but what matters in this match is that Luke Harper came back, and he's alongside Bray Wyatt. I was worried that maybe he was going to turn right after showing up. That was not the case. It was a hardcore match, basically. It was very physical. This was something where as I said in the beginning and on the podcast, I've enjoyed seeing the little shenanigans on SmackDown Live. I enjoyed some of the things backstage here, but I'm not the biggest fan of Bray Wyatt matches or Randy Orton matches. You put them in together. They did what they had to do to get the thing going, and obviously I can't imagine they were too thrilled at being the main event when people were expecting two other things to really have that slot. But it was a really solid match for what it was. This is not something that you go back or have a match of the year discussion about, but it happened. And we got Luke Harper out of it. What does this mean? With a Bray Wyatt victory, which was nice. What now? Does it mean that Bray Wyatt's the focus? It definitely does seem like it. Luke Harper's basically taking the spot of Eric Rowan, who's out of action. Braun Strowman is on Raw. So the Wyatt family really is down to just the Herp and Bray Wyatt. Stop looking at me funny. Overall, once again, I got to say that No Mercy is a weird pay-per-view. Now, on social media, Twitter, Byte That Cast, we usually do voting for Raw and SmackDown. I also put up a poll for No Mercy, and the majority of the voting was a 3 out of 4 at 41%. You guys said it was a good show, followed by 24% said it was a weird show, 2 out of 4. Then third place, it was bad, and 14%, the minority, gave it a 4 out of 4, stating it was great. So everybody's feeling the same thing. I think that you can look back at the show and have it be okay, but you're presented with a card, you're presented with a match order or with an idea of, and then all of a sudden they change it in a way that honestly doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, but hopefully SmackDown can make some sense of it. Also, what the hell, Michael Cole? I completely forgot about this. You have Michael Cole show up and then build up the card for the next WWE pay-per-view, the Raw one. I get it. You got to sell that, but it added yet another thing of weird WWTF moments, or WWETF moments, you could say, to the show. That's just like you're doing the brand split. It's okay that you put up a graphic of the next pay-per-view, but if you're already on the network watching this, you don't need to like put Michael Cole, because I don't want to hear Michael Cole on SmackDown. I got the other show for that. Go away, Cole. So drop a comment with your thoughts about No Mercy. Check out the podcast, once again, available every single Wednesday. We're going to cover Raw, SmackDown. Pretty sure we got predictions again every 2 weeks. We got a WWE pay-per-view now. If you like this video, definitely give me a thumbs up. It's right down there. And nearby that is a subscribe button. You can get our updates on the latest videos that we put out. Have it be a Square Roundtable or different gameplay videos. We actually have a WWE trivia game that we put up. You can check that out right now, as well as us playing WWF Raw for the Super Nintendo. You can check that out. If you want to get early access to some of our content, it's really easy. You head on over to patreon.com/Byte That, and when you pledge, depending on the tier, you can get things such as a raw and uncut video version of the podcast that we put out last week. You can watch that in video. You can get early access to some of the Friday videos. You can get a shout out. You can get exclusive behind the scenes updates and tons of more cool stuff. So thanks for watching. Hopefully, No Mercy was at least an enjoyable experience for you, and we look to talking about more wrestling next Wednesday. So thanks for watching, and we'll be back with tons more right here on Byte That.